my god, my hair will not cooperate. Guess that's something to put in the complaint journal. Hey Marauders, welcome to my channel. My name is Mariska and you should make sure to subscribe to join the Marauders. So, as you can tell from the title of this video, I'm going to be talking about complaint journals. So yeah, I hope you like this video. If you do, make sure to leave a like and comment if this actually helps you when you start doing it, because that would be pretty cool. I'm honestly not sure if they were already a thing or not. The way I do it, I guess I sort of invented, maybe? Today will be day 479. It's sort of a good way to get out your feelings and complain about things so that it's not all in your head, you're not being super negative and complaining to other people. And I feel like I had a problem with journaling before because I didn't like how personal it was.
January 7th, 2016. I feel unsettled by something I was told today. I don't want to write it anywhere. Someone probably will read this other than me. If you are, you're a stupid, creepy.
Anyways. What I like about this method is that you're forced to put down more positive things than negative things. You can reflect on the good and the bad parts of your day. The list form adds some sort of formality and organization, and it's sort of more impersonal, so it doesn't feel as weird. I didn't want to say Dear Diary because it just feels weird to like talk to your diary like a person. I love
making lists,
so this kind of was perfect. It's also really good if you don't have a lot of time because you can adjust this to fit the amount of time you want to devote to journaling instead of writing this super long thing about your day, which can be kind of daunting and a hard habit to start. Because it's a more logical breakdown, then it's also more helpful in the moment. What I mean by this is you can follow your train of thought and the path that your mind takes. I think that it's also sort of helped me to keep track of stuff in my mind because I write all the stuff at the end of the day. So I kind of keep track of it as the day is going on, and I think I'm gonna write this later. So these are all of the complaint journals that I've done. They're all full except for, I'm not sure if my current one is in this stack. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And you could also totally do this digitally if you like that better. This was my first one. I just got this notebook from the dollar store because I thought it was kind of like a good basic one, but it wasn't boring and ugly. On the first day, complaints day 1, 44 complaints and 14 good things. So I decided that that ratio was not very helpful. So after that, I decided to do 22 good things and 16 complaints. I feel like 22 is a good number because it also happened to be the perfect number of lines. They're all different sizes, but it seems like 22 is a standard number of lines for a notebook to have. 16 complaints so that it's not as high as the number of good things you're writing, but it's still enough that you don't have to like ignore some of the bad that happens. You can also adjust both of those because lately, since I haven't really had as much time and I've been going to bed later even though I'm in online school, so
technically I should have more time.
I've been doing 11 and 8 because that way it's the same ratio but it's faster. So as for what you actually write, at the beginning of the first page you're just gonna want to put complaints day 1 and then the date. It had a date thing built in here. I like to track it because I started this on December 31st, 2019. And now I can see how many days I've done, and I've missed 2 days ever. This first one was super long because I was complaining about the ending of How I Met Your Mother, which I had just finished and cried about right before writing this. All the other things were just like bullet points. It can be as frivolous and small of a thing as you want, or it can be like a bigger thing, but just anything that comes to mind really. I didn't mention this, but you can also have a complaint and the good thing that corresponds to it will be basically the good side of it, which is not something that I typically do, but that might also be helpful. Just throwing that out there. And back to the footage. When I first started doing this, I was afraid that I was going to forget about it, so I made sure to keep it beside my bed on my nightstand so that I would see it before I went to sleep. And I have a little light beside my bed so I could turn that on and write stuff. And I also keep a little cup of pens there so that I don't have to get up. It'll start to feel more natural as you build a habit. I'm not sure the number of days it is that it takes to build a habit. I've like read some different ones, so I'm not totally sure. But eventually it'll start to feel really natural, and it feels actually weirder to miss a day doing it. So even if I can't actually meet my goal, I like to just kind of write something down. I have been doing this for a while, and I feel like this has made a difference. Sometimes I look at the first day and I'm like, well, I still have some of these problems. That can be kind of disheartening. you can kind of notice that the things that you've been complaining about for a long time that are fixable are things that maybe would be good goals to set. Yeah, I like having the list form. I think I've already talked about this. It's more objective and it really helps you sort things out, because sometimes it'll be like 2 a.m. and I'm like kind of having a mental breakdown and crying, and I just write a whole bunch of stuff in the notes app and just let it all kind of like into there. But with this, it's a little bit more structured, and I think it's also nice to have during the pandemic. This is healthier to sort of let out some of your negativity and emotions a little bit every day instead of the periodic 2 a.m. mental breakdown notes app sessions. But this way, instead of lying awake, you write all this stuff, you get tired, and you get all of it out of your system, and then you go to sleep. So as someone who is very pessimistic, more emotional than logical, except I try to be logical with the emotion. Like, I like to make pros and cons lists to decide things, but I just figure out everything until the point where the pros are, I like this one better. This is formatted to how my mind works, but if your mind works a different way, you can totally adjust it. Something that I've found is actually really helpful is that I can be quite forgetful, but I didn't know that this would be a benefit, but sometimes I'm like, okay, well, how long have I been using this pair of contacts? And then I can check the date where I put them in. I don't know, for some reason I counted that as a good thing, like, I changed my contacts today. I can just kind of figure it out from that date. There's this one thing, it's totally optional, and if you don't believe in it, then that's cool, just don't use it. I'm still skeptical, really. I added a law of attraction page on day 111. I think it's cool and it can't hurt, and if you just write down the stuff that's important to you, nobody else is gonna read this and judge you or whatever. No reason not to, really, except that maybe use a little bit more notebook space. So what I did was I wrote out 16 statements of things that I wanted to be true. And that was also kind of good because even if it doesn't necessarily like happen, because I don't really know how it's supposed to work, I haven't done a lot of research. I think some people rely on manifestation as like, if I write it, then it'll just happen, but you have to put in the work too. And if it does work how I like think it works, then writing it down beside the stuff that is actually part of your life kind of makes it feel more real. If it's something like being more confident, I think that that will definitely help you, because if you believe in it more after you write it down beside the stuff that's actually happened, then I think that could definitely help fix your mindset. So I write out the same 16 things every day. I've kind of abbreviated it a lot. Even like the notebook I started doing the journals in was this one, and the one I'm doing now is this big. So I've just kind of condensed it. In conclusion, I encourage you to try this out, because even if you just kind of do it a couple times and you decide it's not your thing, there's no harm in doing it. Now you have like a record of those 2 days. Never know until you try. Like, if I hadn't tried chocolate ice cream when I first had the opportunity to, maybe I would have been missing out all these years, because I didn't want to at first because it looked weird. What was I thinking? What an idiot. You really don't need anything special, just a notebook and a pen and a little bit of time. Really hope this was helpful. Again, make sure you subscribe and like the video. And yeah, see you next week. Bye.
I just want somebody to talk